It's a big question. We give our share on that question. Does he need the mitzvahs? No, he didn't need the world to begin with. But once he created the world in a way that the world needs that he did. He created the world as if he needs the mitzvahs.
God doesn't need anything. He didn't need to create the world. But since it's his nature to give, he needed, as it were, kivyachol, to create someone, meaning Am Yisrael, to give to.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need anything. Hakadosh Baruch Hu did a toiva. The Rabbi Rucham Lvavitz in the bracha says that the toiva that Hakadosh Baruch Hu did is that he made it as if that the world, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is kilu and needs our mitzvahs. But avad Hakadosh Baruch Hu is betachas. Hakadosh Baruch Hu is perfect.
Hashem is perfect. He has everything. Elamai, he wants the perfection of mankind.
He's complete in himself. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need anything from us. But he loves when we give him our attention, when we do our mitzvahs for him.
Eibishter needs my mitzvah, sure.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives us the opportunity and the schus of doing the entire mitzvahs. Not because Baruch Hu needs it. It's our schus that we're able to do the mitzvahs of Hashem.
Of course he needs my mitzvahs. That's the whole reason I'm here. I'm here so that I can do mitzvahs for him.
The reason why Hakadosh Baruch Hu created this world, Olam Chesed Yiboneh, there was not the world didn't exist, right? It was just Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Why did Hakadosh Baruch Hu create the world? Because Hakadosh Baruch Hu wanted to do Chesed. Hakadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be meitiv. That's the tachas of the bria is to be meitiv. And the ultimate way that a person can come to his tachas is by doing Torah mitzvahs.
He doesn't need anything. That's the thing that we need to do.
Why didn't he only give us 2 or 3 mitzvahs, or 10 commandments? He gave us 613 commandments. Why? Because he wanted to be marba schar. He wanted to give us more and more schar. That's for us. That's for us. It's not for him.
He needs me to do my mitzvahs for my benefit, not for his benefit.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need it. We need it.
He's good and bestows good on all the creatures in this world, and that's why he gives us the opportunity to fulfill the mitzvahs. But he does not need me, I need Hashem.
If God is perfect, then why did he make me? He made me for a reason.
The label of this topic, the name of this subject, is Avodah Tzorech Gavoya, question mark. Which if you learned L'Shem Shakela, and I suspect that you did, you've seen the phrase Avodah Tzorech Gavoya with a question mark, which means, does the Eibishter care? And the answer to that question depends even on how you define the Eibishter. That may sound like a funny question, but it is a question. And there's a lot of definitions, and therefore there's a lot of answers. In the Kolos, we can divide it up into 3 categories: philosophy, mysticism, and Chassidus. Chakira, Kabbalah, Chassidus. There's 3 different worlds. And they talk about creation in 3 completely different ways. All of the clips that we saw there on that film are based on people who haven't learned Chassidus. And people who have not learned Chassidus learn Musar, they learn Ashkafa. And this Musar and this Ashkafa you could find even, for example, in the Mei Nevuchim. I have here a saga in the Mei Nevuchim. And they all make one assumption. The assumption is there's nothing we could do for the Eibishter, period. It's a logical assumption. If you define the Eibishter al pi seichel, if God is an essence of reason and the source of reason, it's impossible that we should be able to have his perfection. And therefore, in the pre-Kabbalah theology, there is an assumption that there's no way in the world anything we're doing is for the Eibishter. So you're left with a different question. And the question is, why did the Eibishter make us? If there's no way we can affect the Eibishter's perfection, we matter to him not. And yet he made us. So then the answer becomes what they said. He made us for us. That is the Chakira answer to the question. In all Tami Sfarim of Tami HaMitzvahs that are before Kabbalah, is different L'Shenis. Chafetz Chesed to Tavatev Lehetiv, Lehetiv Lebruav, Ratzah Kodesh Bo L'Zaches Es Yisrael, they should get a lot of schar. The bottom line is, in the pre-Kabbalah model, the answer to the question is, it doesn't matter to the Eibishter, it matters only to us. Because it can't matter to the Eibishter. It can't matter to the Eibishter because, in quotes, the nature of the Eibishter, in quotes, do not allow for us to be able to give him anything. So that's the perspective. If you start off with an assumption that the Eibishter is kach v'kach, this is the answer. This is the answer of Pichakira. This is why outside of the Hasidic world you hear this. Everything they said in Sifrei Musa. But everything they said is said in Sifrei Musa based on a Yesod. And the Yesod is that there's no Pnimi Satera, there's no Kabbalah, and there's certainly no Chassidus. If you don't have Pnimi Satera, you don't have Kabbalah Chassidus, you have only philosophy, that means logic, seichel. Logically, it's impossible to say that we do anything for the Eibishter, so it must be that it's for us. This is number one.
You said one of the sources of the Rambam.
Of course.
The Rambam wasn't cool.
Okay, Takash. Come back. It says in the Sikh, Rambam is Mekubal. Okay, now you go explain every Rambam pick Kabbalah and Slach Rabbi is love. Okay, as the Sachavuna, all the Kabbalah when I'm
it's not there.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm saying the Pashtus. When you read the Rambam, this is the Rambam's position.
They're learning Musar if they say, oh, they're not looking at it. A lot of Musar now, even a lot of Musar also they can
The Svarim of Musa that are based on Kabbalah don't say this. The Svarim of Musa who say this is what the Meir Nebuchim says, this is what the Rasag says, this is what the Kuzay never learned the Kuzay. This is the answer according to it's predicated on an assumption that the Eibush is perfect. Okay. Now, let's move on to Kabbalah. I really don't want to dominate these proceedings. I'm going to spend a few minutes. Okay. Kabbalah's definition of mitzvahs is l'shem yichud kodesh b'ruch shchinte. L'shem yichud kodesh b'ruch shchinte basically means to bring additional oil into the kelim of Atzilus. So, in Kabbalah, when the question is asked, Avodah Tzorech Gavoya question mark, the answer is Avodah Tzorech Gavoya period. Yes, Yiddishkeit matters to Gavoya. But what is Gavoya? Gavoya is not the Eibishter. Gavoya is Eibishter Linis, Getlichkeit, or in Sof. On the Madregas, what we call in our culture Giluyim. Yes, Avodah Tzorech Gavoya means there is a purpose in Yiddishkeit that goes beyond us. Because when we do the mitzvahs, first of all, a Maila, we're Mamshech, Eiris, and Kalim. So Gavoya, the Eibishter, needs a Teir on mitzvahs in the realm of Atzilus. Now, in the L'siyam Shakela, there's a shtickle pilpul. He talks about Birurim and Tshuva, higher than Atzilus, all kinds of things. The unterste Shuri is, Kabbalah is saying, mitzvahs matter to Gavoya, but Gavoya is not the Eibishter. The Gavoya is Alakus. That's the world of Kabbalah. Kabbalah is about godliness. Philosophy doesn't have godliness. In philosophy there's the Eibishter and there's us. In philosophy there's the Eibishter and there's us, and the Eibishter is a logical Eibishter. And because the Eibishter is a logical Eibishter, it's impossible logically that anything is about him, and therefore it's only about us. In Kabbalah there's Getlichkeit, and in the realms of Getlichkeit we say it's very complicated. All the different answers that you have, whether it's Atzilus or it's Birurim or it's Tshuva, it's still in Giluyim. Okay? Chassidus, I have a quote here. It's a mamish a word from the Rebbe. It's in a Sikha Chayel or Kafshin Yud Beis. The Rebbe says, Tzarech lezboinen tchila sha'aveda tzarech gavaya hi hainu sha'aveda negas lamayla va'ad lamayla mayla she'ein lamayla imenu. It says in Yiddish, hecher and hecher and noch hecher, but hecher is nita, but musim husi is barach. This is Chassidus. The difference between Chassidus and Kabbalah is that Kabbalah talks about godliness and Chassidus is about God. And in short, every one of us has a piece of the Eibishter inside of ourselves, and the piece of the Eibishter inside of ourselves can touch the Eibishter himself. This is not logical. It's not a seichel that can answer. It's a truth. The Eibishter wants to touch him through Torah and mitzvahs. Why? The question is wrong. You can only ask a question if you presume reason. A question is a logical assertion, and a question needs a logical response. This is Ratzin. These are the three answers to the question. Because philosophy is only seichel, and not peace, and that the Eibishter is seichel, and if the Eibishter is seichel, it's impossible that the Eibishter needs anything from us. Kabbalah says yes, the Eibishter is Torah mitzvahs, but not the Eibishter. Eibishter means Chassidus says a Yid touches the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is what it says in the Torah Shalom. Hat man gar an der Cheretz. This is a short version of the answer. But I think it's much, much more important that we be careful, that we really believe in God and in Torah mitzvahs and value it. And He knows this for us.